What up, world? You on the mic with Mike, Mr. Mike, and this is Keep That Chair Spinning. Let's get it. All right, good people, welcome back. This is another episode of Keep That Chair Spinning. By now, you all know that this is just simply a podcast, man, that's geared to helping out some of the barbers that are trying to find their way out of barber school, maybe even those that are stagnant in the game, been at it for a couple of years now, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, and they just find themselves a little stagnant and just don't know how to get over the hump. So hopefully this is a podcast and some, valuable information that can help you get going and find your groove like Stella. Today's topic, we just want to kind of tackle how to understand that every customer is not going to be for you. Of course, the name of the game is you want to try and cut every customer that you can. You grind so hard to try and put a butt in your chair like every hour of that 8 to 10 hours that you work. But you just got to understand that every customer is not going to be for you. You're dealing with so many different attitudes, so many different characteristics. Oil and water don't mix. So just realize that some of them customers aren't going to be for you, no matter how much of your best foot forward that you put into that cut. These people these days, man, they come in with different attitudes, and you gotta be mindful, and you gotta already have that knowing, that knowledge, and understand that that's just not for you. One of the main things is you need to understand that don't have any feelings involved in going into this, because you will see a couple customers that'll come to you, and you feel like, again, you put your all into it, you gave them the best table of their life, and they end up jumping seats, and you kind of look at them crazy, like they owe you something. They don't owe you anything. Keep that in mind. Like, they're gonna spend their money however they want to spend it. So you just need to know that don't have any feelings involved. Don't think that these customers owe you something. They're gonna spend their money how they want to spend it. As we said in last week's podcast, that they're not your customer until they sit into your chair. So again, you may be able to cut them 2, 3, 10 times, but on that 11th time, they may want to go try out the dude beside you. So just keep it in mind. Have no feelings involved. As I said in the very first one, each cut is a job interview. So you don't have the job until they're sitting in the chair. You put that cape on them, and you're working again another hour on their head, or whatever, however long it takes you to knock it out. Just keep it in mind. No feelings involved. They're gonna jump chairs. You're gonna have that all the time. I mean, you'll turn around and you'll have a customer that'll gas you up. I mean, just pump you up to the best ability of theirs, and just tell you how good of a haircut this is, and they've never had this haircut style, and you just, the way you styled it, and you put that oomph onto it, and then next time they'll come in and look you dead in your eye and just tell you that, hey, they're looking for the next available chair, or they turn around and use the booking app that you told them to use, and they book with somebody else, and meanwhile you sitting down at the same time. So it's not as if they looked on there and saw that you were busy. No, they'll just go book whoever's next. So again, they're not your customer until they sit in your chair. So just be wary. Some will gas you up and pat, and won't get up out the mirror and be like, oh yeah, and turn around the next time they come in and go sit in somebody else's chair. But that's cool. That's all part of the game. Just don't have any feelings involved. Don't act as if you got them locked in, because they're not yours until they sit in that chair. You're gonna end up having two types of customers that you deal with. You'll see it, I promise. You end up having those shop/seat hoppers that they bounce around from shop to shop, and they'll sit there and they'll tell you, if you listen close enough, they'll tell you, oh man, the last barber I was going to, man, he started tripping, or she started messing up, or she wasn't doing this and doing that. And man, I used to also go over here, and they went up on prices and all that good stuff. And it's like, is it the barber or is it the customer? So just, you'll listen to them, and you'll see that you'll have those type that just, they can never find a barber home. So it's not that you don't want to put your all into that cut, but you just, again, you need to understand that you're kind of already dealing with somebody who's loose, who has no loyalty, and they may, like I say, gas you up at the end of your cut, and you won't see them ever again. But then you also have that other type that's the veteran loyalists. They may end up in your chair because one, they were with their barber for so long, and again, barber ended up moving out of town or whatever, and you know they didn't like the actual other vibe at the shop and didn't want to deal with anybody else, so they did decide to try another shop, and they found you and wanted to give you a shot. um, it's cool because for me, like I have a customer to this day, Mr. Eddie. I've been cutting him for the whole 10 years that I've been cutting hair. I found him at the barber school that we were going to, and man, he wrote it out with me for these 10 years. I mean, I've tried just about every haircut on Mr. Eddie, and Mr. Eddie has always, smiled in that mirror and said, "Good job, Mike." So I'm very appreciative of that. But I've been going through it these past couple of weeks, man. I've also been seeing a couple of my babies that are growing up, and they're going to high school, or some that are going to college. Like, you're gonna get you some loyalists, but again, it's a matter of you putting that work in and understanding that they're not gonna do anything until they come back to you that next time. So just be wary and be understand that there are two types, and you just want to do your best and try and lock them in every time. You want to try and make sure that you're giving them a reason to come back to you, because again, there's 1,000 barbershops in between you and them. They're coming back to see you for a reason, so make sure you give them that best reason. When you're dealing with these customers, just pack your patience. You got to do that. You have to understand that you'll have those picky types that will try to critique you on every single thing, try to be very meticulous with you, and just give you the hardest time. Let you get all the way through the cut, and you give them the mirror, and then it's like, "Oh well, no, actually I was hoping to get this a little bit higher," when they saw where you were at 20 minutes ago within the cut and didn't tell you anything then. So now you done spent another 20 minutes trying to correct that. The worst thing any barber wants to do is end up giving one customer 3 different haircuts. So pack your patience, try to make sure that you get all that understood, especially if you can kind of tell when they sit down and they're already indecisive in what they want. Buckle up, because it's going to be a long ride. But just understand you're gonna have those picky ones. They're gonna try and break you down. They're gonna try and break you apart. And it's crazy because it's like, those are the types, they're like sharks. They can almost sense that you're a new barber, or that you even have something going on in your life, and they just feel like nagging at you and picking at you. And so they start breaking you down, and they start critiquing your career. This is your career, you know what I mean? You want to make sure that you don't let anybody debunk you and tell you who you are and who you aren't. So don't let them get to you, man. Just try and be as clear as possible with them. I ask 1,000 questions. I want to make sure I get it right that first time. But just be mindful. You're gonna have some that are picky, and like I say, pack your patience, because they're really like sharks. It's like they can sense that blood. They can sense that you're a newbie, whatever it is. So be careful, and you can tell, like I say, when they start being meticulous with you, that's cool. And again, don't get it wrong. You want to be meticulous as well. You want to be detailed in your cuts, because there are a lot of different styles, and it needs to flow in that manner. But you'll have some that are just really just doing it just to be the butt head. So be mindful, and pack your patience, because you don't want to spend all day on that one customer. Again, you're trying to grind, you're trying to get your feet wet and get going, and you don't want to end up spending an hour and a half on this one customer. So just pack your patience and work it out, and kind of feel them out and sense what you need to get done. Again, this is your career, so you don't want to let anybody either hassle you over the prices, especially if it's a shop price. Let them know you ain't trying to bargain or do no negotiating. One of my barber instructors, what he had said was, when I go from supposed edging you up with the edgers, but now you talking about, can I just take a little bit off with these 76s or my adjustables, it's no longer an edge up. I'm charging you for a haircut. So you got those sneaky ones that'll call, or text and like, "Hey, I just need a cleanup," or "I just need an edge up." And again, you kind of allot it for that time, thinking it's just an edge up, and then they get in the chair and they try and swindle you and like, oh well, hey, do you mind getting this off too, or is it okay if I go ahead and go ahead and taper it too? Yeah, it's cool, but I am gonna charge you. Like I'm not gonna charge you an edge up price, and because you told me you wanted an edge up, but since you're here, you just want a little cleanup, a little touch up. We're not gonna do that either. Again, this ain't no negotiation. My work is my hustle, and I will be paid accordingly. It ended up telling an older gentleman that before, like, oh, I just want a little cleanup, and you're gonna charge me that much? Yes, yes, I am. You don't go to a steakhouse talking about I'm not that hungry. I only want to pay $20 for that ribeye. You don't do that, so why would you do that to me? My craft is my hustle. This is how I provide for my family. This is how I feed them. So I'm not about to start cutting any deals just because you only want a little bit off. If you do, you can go down there to Sports Clips, Super Clips, let them keep messing you up, pay you $10 and be happy. But take pride in your craft. Just be mindful again that you're gonna have those picky ones, and you're gonna have those that try you. They try to see where you're at and what they can get away with. Just tell them you're not the one, man. Like I'm here for a while. I'm here to make a name, and my name will be remembered for all the right reasons. And just grind it out. Like say, you have those that'll gas you up and tell you that this is the best cut, this is fire cut, and kind of walk out making that video, and like I say, next week, who, Mr. Mike, who, they sitting there finding sitting in another chair. So it's cool. You're gonna find your grip, man. You're gonna run into those knuckleheads that'll make you sweat and make you work 10 times harder. But it's cool, man. Again, I wouldn't change it for the world, but just pack your patience and try to go in with no feelings involved. Just remember that every time they sit in their chair, it's a job interview, man. So put forth your best effort, man. Give them all you got, and just understand that every customer isn't for you. That's the game. It's gonna come, but again, don't let anybody try to work you over for your prices. Again, especially if it's shop prices, because then the owner get to looking at you like. My money looking funny. It's a little short, and you don't want to be at heads with the shop owner because you let little Dan over here talk you out of a haircut price with an edge up. So just be good, stand your ground, pack your patience, and just remember no feelings involved. They got to come every day to show you that they are yours. That the loyalty is there, that they're not just a shop hopper or a seat hopper. And don't let them gas you up. Don't let them gas you up until they pay that price. Just remember, every customer isn't for y'all, good people. As always, I appreciate your time, man. We're gonna check back with y'all next week. Holla, keep that chair spinning, people. One.